Hi guys, this is Ruben Langdon. You're listening to A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live. Shoryuken!
Welcome to the show that gives you all the news, views, and opinions in the world of gaming. This is A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live Extras. Select Start with your host, Xavier Josiah. Power up and game on.
To save the world.
You ain't got the bag. Oh no, 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 you ain't got the bag. Oh no. Why you hating on my honest living? It isn't my fault that your ass ain't have a pot to piss in. I ain't been binging, been overdriven like an engine. I wanna do another tour in Britain. My mom says I'm so persistent, like my grandma was. I'm a musician, kids who bullied me are janitors. At best they're managers of grocery stores. I'm a locksmith to the city the way I open these doors.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live Extra Select Start. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Folks, I hope we are having a great week. We are anticipating two big premieres this week. One is Devil May Cry 5, which is coming out this Friday, and we're going to talk about a little bit of that this week. But I will be fully reviewing it next week going down the line, as well as a major announcement involving that game. If you guys have heard this show before, I've been mentioning it, talking about it just a little bit. Well, it's official, and I'll talk about that later on today when I talk about that game and the demo that I got a chance to play as well. We also got Captain Marvel that will be coming out as well, so I am looking forward to that, but we'll talk about that enough later on. We got a lot going on with that, including our movie tavern get-together with some of our ACMG members as well, so we'll talk about that later on, probably in the Talk Time Live Prime show on Sunday when I review Captain Marvel, but I digress. What you just heard was a clip from the song You Ain't Got the Bag from the one and only Felix Don Gatto, a.k.a. Bag of Tricks Cat, which was a guest of mine on Talk Time Live Exclusive. You just heard a clip of that. The video's out. You could go out of your way to check out the video. The song is heat. It is pure fire. And I'm telling you now, I got a chance to listen to the entire album. Thank you to Felix for, shipping that out to me and getting that to me. And man, you guys are in for a treat. I love this album. I had a chance to get an early copy of it. And lo and behold, it is a really, really hot album. So here's what I love about it. And I'm going to give you guys a really quick review of it real quick. I love it because we talked about storytelling. If you heard the interview, which if you haven't, go out of your way to listen to the interview. There is some great heat and story to it. And not only that, the significance of his name, which if you don't know, go out of your way to check out the interview. The significance of the theme that he uses, which is Felix the Cat. And there's a reason why he's using it. There's a connection, a huge bloodline connection to that character and him in his life. And it's all in this album. And I'm telling you, the first two songs are great introductions to this album. The feeling of the album is great as well, but the last two songs at the end really hit it home. And it's a great tribute to the heritage of this character and his bloodline. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It is absolutely awesome what he did. I had to reach out to him and tell him, like, dude, this really brought me almost a tear to my eye as to what he did with this album, let alone the last two songs of it as well. So if you're a fan of Felix and you're a fan of Bag of Tricks Cat, man, go out of your way to do it. He did it again. It's awesome. Go out of your way to check it out. It's up for pre-order now, and that's his new album called Felix Chevrolet, which is coming out on April 26th. But you can pre-order the album right now. So there it is. There's a shout-out. I'm probably going to mention this again on my Prime show. I'm hyping this up for him. It's awesome. he needs to go out of his way to keep on going. He was just at the Grammys too, so much love to him, and thank him again for coming on to the show. We will definitely have him in a future date as well. So enough of that right now. We're going to go to what we do best. We got a lot of gaming news to talk about here in Select Start, so let's switch on to that because we got some really interesting things to start off with right now.
Keeper of time. I guide the destiny of the realms. But my work's perfection has been tainted by Raiden's actions. I enlist all those who disdain the current course of history. By merging past and present, we may draw upon allies from both eras. I offer a greater empire in the new era. Will your Outworld armies defend it?
They shall.
All right, folks, what you just heard was just a clip of the new story trailer for Mortal Kombat 11. It looks like it's going to be ever so insane in this game, and I am absolutely anticipating playing this game. I am looking forward to playing this game indeed. What is going on here is basically a whole time traveling crossover mix-up whole thing, which sounds like it's going to rewrite the whole entire series again. But it looks like a lot of fun what's going to happen here. A lot of great moments is going to happen between different eras of Mortal Kombat. Here you have a new character, Kronika, the Keeper of Time, who's looking to stop the evil Raiden from terrorizing and really ripping the time continuum, I guess, of everything that's going on within the eras of Mortal Kombat. Now, do you guys remember Raiden actually sacrificed himself when he fighting Shinnok in Mortal Kombat 10, and all of the evil energy that he took within him created an evil essence of him in this time around, and just going crazy and doing some really crazy things about it. So this leads to her emerging all the characters from past and present Mortal Kombat games in order to stop him. Meaning, you will see old and new versions of characters, including Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and the return of Shao Kahn, which, of course, you guys have also seen him, die in the previous Mortal Kombat 9. Now, you also see Kung Lao make his return as well, who was also killed by Shao Kahn. So there's going to be a lot of craziness going on here. I can't tell you how excited I am to see this. I trust fully of what NetherRealm has done since they became a thing, since Ed Boon took over the helm of Mortal Kombat and created the studio. They've done a tremendous job. I've even defended DC Universe versus Mortal Kombat. The only thing that people really griped and bitched about with that game is clearly that there was no violence. Other than that, the storyline was tight. The fighting was pretty good. They had some innovative things to add to it. So I've liked everything that NetherRealm has done, and WB Games to that extent. Those two are great combinations together, and they created some great stories and content from the Mortal Kombat series, which really had a story, but it was never tight. With Ed Boon teaming up with WB Games and working with them, they were able to create the ultimate, combination of story and action and fighting all combined. This is like one of the great combinations of gaming going on today, especially for fighters. You don't get that because most fighters are great fighters, but they're not great stories. With Mortal Kombat, you kind of get both. You really kind of get both going on here, and I really appreciate it. So I'm very much looking forward, especially if you're a fighting game fan like me, who are really engulfed in the story development and the storytelling of fighting games, which really drew me in more or less along with the gameplay. So I am looking forward to absolutely playing this game. You also got things to look forward to with interactions with certain characters, past and present, such as Kodokan and Shao Kahn. I guarantee you're going to see that clash because Kodokan is still a part of this. Kodokan was a character to me that was in the gray. He wanted to be the new ruler of Outworld, but he wanted to have a different philosophy and direction and ideology as opposed to Shao Kahn. So we're going to see that clash. Just guarantee we're going to see that clash in there. You also, if you watch the clip too, there were also interactions with older Johnny Cage and younger Johnny Cage, which I got a feeling the young Johnny Cage is going to annoy the hell out of his older self, so he's going to see how much of a dork he really was back then. So that's going to be funny. Many new characters from the last Mortal Kombat game will be there as well, so that's also cool. But what really took me off about this trailer was the really cool music that was from a group of hip-hop artists called T-Mo and Clairside. Never heard of these guys before. These are just probably indie guys out there, again, doing their thing out there and doing it really well. And they had there's a song that they used for the clip called War. It sounds very Eminem-esque, and I almost thought it was Eminem until I had to really research it, but in fact, it was these guys, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the fact that they're doing it because they did a great job with the song. You can hear the song on YouTube as well. These guys did great doing it. It's awesome. And it was the right choice of music to use to hype up this game. I was so against the original song that they were using for the teaser, for the announcement trailer, which was 21 Savage. It didn't fit at all. I felt like that they used 21 Savage strictly because he was famous, but he didn't have the right kick for that, for Mortal Kombat. I said this many times before, that you use, instead of using like the Wu-Tang or Redman or somebody else to that extent that matches up to that type of grittiness, you use 21 Savage and it didn't fit at all to me. But these guys, these indie guys, guaranteed these are indie guys. I'm sorry. I've never heard anything about these guys, but I am now a fan of these guys. So T-Mo and Clairside, they killed it. It just shows that it doesn't have to be always a big name, you know, but these guys are hot. I love these guys. I love the song that they use for it. So it's awesome. Overall, I am looking forward to it because I'm hoping that there will be some rewritten elements to it, including saving Liu Kang, for God's sake, because I don't mind the fact that they killed him off, and it was, you know, it did fit the format. It did work. But Liu Kang is one of my favorite characters in the series. And to see him as a lost soul of himself is so sad to see, but it's also great too. He becomes a villain and pretty much the entire thing. So I thought it was really crazy, but his younger self is going to come in and see his actual results of himself after a while. So this might change him in the midst of all this, and we may get Liu Kang back. I think this may be the time that we get Liu Kang back, so we'll see how this ends. And if it does happen that way, I am going to be awfully happy because although I love Mortal Kombat 10, I wasn't really a fan of the fact that the Cage family was the center of attention there, because the Cage family, Johnny was always a side character to me. So for him, if they do it that way and it makes Johnny a transitional kind of a, you know, character, in a sense that he's not the main character, but it was just telling a side story to something bigger that's going to come along, I'm okay with that. And I'm still okay with the actual, you know, story of Mortal Kombat 10. It just kills me. And not only that, will they develop further into the story development of Cassie Cage? Because the last one showed that she was developing, she had a kind of a puberty spurt when she started developing the same aura or chi or chakra, if you will, that Johnny had. Is this going to turn into other things? But if you've seen gameplay footage of her and Kano, she actually is still relying on, you know, tech and artillery. You know, she's using guns and, you know, and a whole big arsenal, if you will. I guess that was the proper word I needed to say. So, you know, I really hope that she begins to develop more of her powers and rely on more of her skill, because she's just gun-toting the whole entire time. And I'm like, your father is a skilled martial artist with a really cool skill and technique that you should be utilizing. Now, it does look like she utilizes it a little bit, but also rely on, you know, technology and everything. She also is going to be having a sort of a drone, a AI type of drone that she's going to be working with as well. So that is going to be a new kick. And I actually did like the gameplay from that when I saw that. So I believe that you may be able to customize that AI too. So that's going to be a really cool feature as well. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Either way, I'm thinking this game is going to be hot anyway. I'm looking forward to playing it when it comes out on April 23rd. I believe on all consoles is coming out, and PC as well. It's definitely coming out on a Nintendo Switch. That's the one I'm going to be aiming for because that's always the tester. I'm going to take the risk of even going to that one. I'm hoping that they succeed in this and being able to come out with a fluid version for the Switch, because the last game that failed on the Switch, to my knowledge, still to this day, is 2K Games' WWE 2K19. Every other game that is translated that was played on a PlayStation or Xbox has translated pretty damn well onto the Switch, except for 2K19, which is playable, but it's not fluid. So there's that situation right there. It's not 19, it's 18, by the way. 2K18, I'm sorry. So that's the one situation that I'm hoping for. So I'm going to take the risk and play it on there. I know it's going to be great on the PlayStation 4. I know it's going to be great on the Xbox One. I needed to play on this really well. And with everything that they're coming out with for the Nintendo Switch and all these really hardcore AAA heavy graphic games, I am hoping for great frames per second on all of this stuff. So we will see, but I am most likely looking forward to that as well. So on to some other news. I have actually had a chance to play Yakuza 6, and I got it on sale. I think I mentioned this last week. I got it on sale. Finally got a chance to play this thoroughly. I am kicking myself that I haven't played this game sooner. First of all, shout out to any of my A.C.M.G members who know I'm a wrestling fan and didn't tell me that there's a lot of wrestling influence in this game. So let's talk about the fact that this game is awesome, and it's the answer to everything that the previous games have not actually had before and does before. There is some things that this game lacks, I believe, that the other games had, and I will talk about that. But the one thing that I did, the thing that just stuck out the most, was the fact that the New Japan Pro Wrestling Elite was in this game. And I'm talking about Hiroshi Tanahashi, Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, and I'm probably butchered his first name, but Okada, Rainmaker Okada, Toru Yano, Hiroshi Tenzan, legend, Satoshi Kojima, legend, who I actually had a chance to see live here in Philly at a Ring of Honor event called Ring of Honor Final Battle. The original Final Battle, 2003, way back. He fought Homicide. He damn near gave him a concussion because he stiffed him so hard. But he's an awesome wrestler, legendary wrestler at this point. He's leading up to Hall of Fame status at this point for many fans. And also Tetsuya Naito, the ever popular Tetsuya Naito from Los Ingranados. I always mess up the Spanish spelling of the name. Los Ingranados de Japón, I believe. I'm butchering the hell out of it. If you're a wrestling fan, you're probably cursing me out right now because I've totally screwed it up. But I believe it's Los Ingranados. Let me just stop right there. I'm just going to stop butchering it right there. But no, Tetsuya Naito is on air, and he's one of the most popular. Him and Okada is like the most, and Tanahashi as well. Three of the most popular characters, and I'm sorry, not only just characters, but popular wrestlers in Japan. Toru Yano is one of the most comical dudes in Japan as well. He's very popular in the New Japan realm. But I'm very surprised they chose him and not the one guy in New Japan Pro Wrestling that will probably fit the format more than anybody, and that is Minoru Suzuki, the legendary Minoru Suzuki from New Japan, also from Suzuki Gun, which is his actual his group, and also more famously from Pancrase. He was one of the co-founders of Pancrase. He's a legendary guy, but more or less, he is a very nasty, hardcore, stiff, and I say stiff as in he hits hard, very stiff fighter, shoot fighter, if you will. He comes off more like a Yakuza member than anybody that's in this game right now. And these guys do a great job. They're playing themselves, but as a character in the game. Not as professional wrestlers, but members of an elite mob or Yakuza, if you will. And Minoru Suzuki would have been perfect for this game, and they decided not to add him on. I was very, very surprised at that. I don't know what came in or why these guys were chosen or why. Yano is great on this game. Yano is great on this game, but I would have chosen to replace him from Minoru Suzuki easily. I wonder if there was some situation that didn't allow him to be in the game. But nonetheless, it was great to see everybody. When I first saw Okada, and the funny part about seeing Okada, I first saw Okada in the game. I recognized him immediately by the back of his head because he has a particular hairstyle that I have not seen in anyone from Japan, outside of Japan. It is a very signature hairstyle that he has. So when they showed him just walking up, and you don't see the front of his face, you only see the back of his face and the trench coat, the really badass cool trench coat that I would rock it any day. Trench coat that he had on, and I looked at him like, no, that's not who I think that is. And lo and behold, the camera panned to his face, and I literally went off. And I immediately went on the A.C.M.G Facebook group and was like, I felt like Arsenio Hall when on a Dave Chappelle show, when Dave Chappelle's thinking of really strange things to keep his mind off the conversation that he's having with this guy trying to pitch him a TV spot. And he's thinking about Arsenio Hall slapping people because they didn't tell him how good the cheese was. That's how I felt. That's exactly how I felt when I saw this. And then when I saw the rest of the 6 lunatics, I completely was like, I need to slap somebody right now. I need to really bitch slap somebody for not telling me this sooner. This game has so many elements. If you played any Yakuza game before, you've seen all of the things that you could do in there. There's a very deep replay value with this game. You could go around certain parts of cities in New York, in Japan. I was about to say New York, and just walk around. It's very populated. It's amazing that this game is so well populated, and this game has so much things going on, and the graphics is great for only 15 gigs of memory. And this is an amazing game. They've all been amazing games, but this one in particular is officially my favorite because of the additions of the New Japan Pro Wrestling Elite characters in here. So, I mean, this was near and dear to my heart. I still haven't finished the game. I'm like in chapter 12 now. I believe I'm near the end. And, when it comes to these 6 lunatics, the New Japan Pro Wrestlers, they are involved in a mini game that you can play, which is like the clan member game, which is really cool. These side missions and everything, these mini games and everything is particularly great. Here's one that I really stumbled onto, and many of my members failed to tell me about, was they had this. It's kind of like a porn chat in here. It's not entirely a porn chat, but they really tease it like it's a Pornhub chat. And there is actually 2 they did camera footage with 2 really attractive, sexy Japanese women. I don't know if they're actual famous exotic women or famous women in Japan, but they're in here, and I played through this game, and I was like, what the Pornhub is going on here? And I was I'm going to put them on blast in my A.C.M.G Facebook group because I know there are people who claim that they played it, but they never mentioned this. So I'm pretty sure they're keeping it quiet as hell, but I found it very funny that there's a whole mini game for this, and just watching Kiryu play through this game, watching Kiryu go through some of these sub stories are hilarious because they put him here. You got the toughest guy in Japan, one of the most respected former Yakuza chairman in Japan. And in between all of the main story, you got sub-stories where they put him in so many awkward, crazy, wacky predicaments. And he goes into becoming a mascot for kids. He is getting himself into chat rooms. He is, selling something or doing something crazy and wacky. It's insane, but every game has him doing some really crazy, wacky stuff. In the midst of all this, you get to play a bunch of video games. What really got me to want to play this game was because they offered an arcade version of Virtua Fighter 5, which I haven't played Virtua Fighter forever, and playing it is still great to play. However, I realized how outdated the graphics is now, which was crazy because back when it was out, it really, the game stepped it up as far as graphics. And to see what Yakuza 6 looks like now, in accordance to what Virtual Fighter 5 looks like, it is absolutely insane. I need Yu Suzuki to come out with another Virtual Fighter. And not only just a Virtual Fighter game, we need him to come out. Screw Shenmue. I'm sorry. I said it. Unless Shenmue's going to be a part of the game, we need a Virtual Fighter with a story mode. Because there's a story to all these characters, but it never fleshes out. It just, they tell a story and then you're just fighting. We need to get in where NetherRealm is and bring this back. Give it a fresh coat of paint. You know, you had in a game with the best control scheme ever. I will argue this down to the T. He developed a genius, an insanely genius control scheme for fighting. Along with that, the greatest training mode you ever had. And I tell you this, a lot of these gamers, I can attest to this too, and I will put money on this. A lot of the E-Leaguers probably don't understand why they learned the techniques that they've learned to this day. Yu Suzuki, in fact, it was the one that brought frame animation to our attention and timing to our attention when he came up with that training mode. And I'm very surprised to this day that Yu Suzuki, or not even just Yu Suzuki, but Capcom, Bandai Namco with Tekken, and all these, Mortal Kombat too. None of these franchises ever had a really thorough, minute, detailed training mode. It really boggles my mind with this. So the fact that they had Virtual Fighter in here was a seller to me, but adding on the New Japan Pro Wrestling Elite into the storylines of these things just killed it for me. The funny thing is, I never really truly beat a Yakuza game. I guess if you really want to count Fist of the North Star, because it was made by the same guys as Yakuza, then you could say that I beat a Yakuza game. But I mean, and Kiryu is in there as a skin for Kenshiro. So technically, yeah, you could say I beat a game, but in essence of that, I've never truly beat an actual Yakuza game, but I've dedicated, because of them giving me such a great treat with, Virtua Fighter 5, and the fact that having New Japan Pro Wrestling game characters in here, or actual wrestlers in here, I'm going to beat this game. I'm determined to beat this game. For the first time ever, I'm beating a Yakuza game. And that, what's crazy? I've brought Yakuza games for years, but I guess a lot of it was it was too time consuming for me to play, and I had to move on with things. But I'm dedicating to this one. I've even brought the spin-offs for the PSP, and I'd never beat those either. Well, first of all, they was all in Japan, so it was slightly, it wasn't hard to go through because you had to translate a lot of things, but it was a little bit more difficult to try to play those spin-off games than it was to play in this. And yeah, if you don't know, there are a bunch of spin-off games, including the one that's coming out very soon on June 21st called Judgment, which has been announced by SEGA. And this story is going to involve a big shot attorney named Takayuki Yagami, played by an actual actor in Japan called Takuya Kimura. And it's quite the contrast of a character from, for Kiryu, in a sense that he's not bitter. He's not, he's kind of a more open, open guy. He's more like a nicer type of character. He wasn't really hardened by, his upbringing, if you will, like Kiryu was. And he, this guy has a different kick. But not only that, speaking of kicks, no pun, he also has a different fighting style than Kiryu as well. A much more fluid, kind of Jackie Chan-esque type of fighting style as well. So that actually is really cool from what I saw, the footage that I saw as well. It's less rugged than what Kiryu is, because Kiryu's fighting style, especially on Yakuza 6, is more or less a street fight type of style with a little bit of martial arts, mixed in. And the thing that I don't like about Yakuza 6 is that if you play previous games, you know that Kiryu had a fighting style. He had various different fighting styles that he's learned, and they never brought that back into Yakuza 6. Instead, in its place, is he has a basic fighting style, but if you use a lot of his spiritual energy his spirit orbs to do interactions with whether weapons or, just if he's near an object or a wall or anything, you can activate it then, or he could go full beast mode, with the spirit energy and just go full blast on you. So it's not bad, but it does take away just a bit from that. But it looks like they're doing slightly the same for this, but giving them a different fighting style here. The gameplay also is going to involve a lot of investigation because he is a lawyer. So he's going to be doing a lot of investigating here and there, and a lot of critical thinking is going to be involved because there's going to be some moral, gameplay here and involving as to what he's going to do and how he's going to handle things as well. So this game comes off literally like a rated PG-13 version of Phoenix Wright, just with a kung fu grip, so to speak. Now, when as far as other type of mini games and everything is involved, returning to this game is some familiar games from Yakuza series or Yakuza 6 and some new ones as well. So the Virtual Fighter will be coming back, Virtual Fighter 5. Fighting Vipers, which is a new addition that's coming to this game, is going in. Fantasy Zone will be added. Puyo Puyo will be added. Will be back because that was in that Fantasy Zone, and Puyo Puyo is also in there from Club Sega. UFO Catcher is back. The newest game, Komoro of the Dead, which is in fact House of the Dead, but the setting is in the city within, the setting of Yakuza 6, or where I don't know what part of Japan it is. I think it's Hiroshima or one of the areas of Japan that they're in from there. So Tsuki will also have his own place too, his own apartment. Now, a lot of things is cool about this is because what you could get from the outside world, like if you buy certain items from stores in the city, or if you go into the UFO catcher, which is one of those little arcade catching things that you try to grab toys or whatever like that, the grappling hook games or whatever. If you manage to grab one of those deals, you could bring it to your apartment and, place it, and, it's decor for your apartment. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. So you have that option. There's going to be plenty of things that you could do in this game. This is one of the finer open world games that you could ever play. But what really intrigues me about this game is for the first time ever in any Yakuza game, whether it be the main or spin-off game, there will be dual audio in this game. Now, I don't know if, in fact, this is the results of the success they had with Fist of the North Star, but I am all for this. I love the Japanese sub that I'm reading off of Yakuza, but if I can really enjoy a good dub version, I'm all for it. And I believe the dual version is going to have both. When you play from what I saw on the footage that I watched, if you do the English dub, you'll still hear some Japanese dialogue along the lines, but the initial characters will be in English. So I am all for that. I am all for that. It helps to enjoy the actual experience better because I'm not reading off of text every single time. Now, granted, I will give credit to Yakuza. All of the Yakuza series is when they do subtitle, it is by far the best subtitling and pacing of dialogue I have ever seen, even outside of this, whether video game or anime. Because a lot of times subs can, like, the subtitling can come up real quick and quickly go away, so you have to pause or read it. No, Yakuza has always had the best pacing of subtitling ever, no matter what it is. So kudos to them for that, but having English dub in here is going to make for a great experience with me. I always question, like, why did it take Yu Suzuki forever to come out with Shenmue 3? And you got 6 Yakuza games, and you also have three spin-off games. You got 3 spin-off games. 2 of them are in the PSP. Now, granted, they're a little bit downgraded on the PSP, but they still came out with it. You also have, and now you got the newest edition. So I don't understand the deal. Maybe we'll find out when down the line as to what really went down with that whole entire thing and did he really need the money that he was asking for back then? Because he asked for a crap load of money to get Shenmue 3 in there because he felt he needed it. And then these guys come out with the Yakuza series, and it's like, this is literally the same thing. This is literally the same thing, man. So we will see. So in other news, Thank you, Nintendo. And I say thank you because I don't know. I believe I mentioned this before that they spoke about this, but they've been really advocating towards mobile developers to not charge enormous amounts of money for gamers for a mobile game. And I totally agree. I've been talking about this since I started this podcast way back. And it's atrocious what they have done in the mobile, the business practice that they have done, the monetization of what they've done in the mobile industry. It from an artistic standpoint, it's lacking integrity. And it's taken away the art side of it when you're trying to charge somebody $99.99 for in-app purchasing for a I want to say stupid. I'm not going to say stupid. For a mobile game that even in its heyday, like if it's an 8-bit game, if it's like a 16-bit game, even in its heyday, would never cost you $99.99. Never. You charge that much for games today, which you're getting a full game experience plus DLC and a season pass. That's what you're paying for this day. That's what you're getting. You're getting a full experience. There's no way. I would dare like to meet the person who is paying that much or has their kids paying that much. I dare you to reveal yourself for that, because you deserve a slap in the face from every single gamer in the world who is not paying that game, who wouldn't be stupid enough to pay that much for in-app purchases. So, a representative of Nintendo spoke to the Wall Street Journal about this, and they said that they are not interested in making large amounts of money for the games that they're coming out with, for a single smartphone game. A cyber agent official told Wall Street Journal, if we managed to game alone, we would have made a lot more. Enough said. And they go down to say the official also confirmed that Dragalia Lost is performing under expectations in the revenue per player, adding that Nintendo asked the company, and I'm getting this from Game Informer, by the way, which is where I learned about this article. Adding that Nintendo asked the company to alter in-game lotteries in response to players complaining about it was too difficult to unlock rare characters. I totally agree. I've had games like that before. Upon doing that and experiencing that, I immediately turned away from the game and stopped playing the game. I've rebelled against these type of games and this type of business practice for years now, since I've gotten a cell phone and I discovered mobile games. And when mobile games used to be fun, I tell you what, I've said this a lot of times. One of the best mobile games I've ever really played was probably one of the first mobile games I ever played, and that was Infinity Blade. They offered in-app purchases, but they also charged you $4.99 for the game, which was great. You got this game with phenomenal graphics at the time, really innovative Punch-Out style gameplay, and a great story. They offered you to in-app purchases to get money for some of the really cool weapons that you get, or you could grind through it. And guess what? The grind was not hard at all. You would end up not only beating the game, but replaying the game multiple times, being able to get these weapons with ease. Or you could, and it was up to you, you could cheat your way through or just, skim your way through and just buy it. They didn't force you to do it, but then there were other games that were committing unethical traits and making it so hard for you to play the game that they almost forced you to want to buy in-app purchase to beat the game. It's very carnival-like, or what they call carny, which means they're trying to stiff you. And to me, that takes away the artistic integrity of a game. So kudos to Nintendo, in my opinion, for shouting out this. For, they are all about having fun. And they figured they can excel better if these game companies stop trying to get mobile games. They were okay with, what was it, Super Mario Run? That was a pretty good game. What I liked about that game when I reviewed it before is that there is no in-app purchases. There was only there were in-app purchases, but only to get the complete game. You didn't have to go in, and then there's some platinum coins that you can use for your gameplay as well, which I still have and I never use them. But you could use that to play that, and you are fine. You are absolutely fine with that. I paid $5.99 for the rest of the game and enjoyed it. You know, the same thing goes for Fire Emblem. Heroes, I believe, is the other one, which I believe was way more successful in this case. So they look like they want to continue to keep doing mobile games, but they want to start a trend of making these games fun to play. I keep saying I will pay full price for a mobile game and enjoy it without having to play in-app purchase. I will pay $14.99, $10.99, $9.99 for a full enjoyment of a game instead of making it free, and then all of a sudden you guys are trying to just, you know, pocket everybody and drain people's pockets with these in-app purchases. No. So kudos to Nintendo. This is why I am completely in allegiance with this brand again. It took me years to be back in the clutches of this company, but I am full force with them on this and just everything that they've done so far. So speaking of which, for all you old school Nintendo 64 guys, the first N64 game has been announced to come onto the Switch, and that is Turok, of all games. Now, Turok was indeed a very popular game on the Nintendo 64. It was a first-person shooter game that involved the character Turok, which I believe is a comic book character, which in the game he hunts down dinosaurs, like way before Monster Hunter. But this is in first-person shooter factor. So there has been said to be new gameplay featuring an all completely 3D world, so they were able to expand it. This is sort of a remaster of the game. The thing that I am surprised, and I don't know when they didn't announce when it was coming out, but it is coming out soon. What I am very surprised about is that this is the first game and not GoldenEye. Do you know how many people, and don't get me twisted, Turok is a very popular cult. It's a very cult following with this game. This is a cult fan game. But GoldenEye really kicked the gear for the Nintendo 64. For that game, and I don't know why, maybe it has something to do with, was Paramount Studios own that Bond franchise? I forgot. But I don't know if it's the studio behind 007 that may not have the license to come out with that game anymore, but they need to go out of their way. If they're really trying to do the N64 thing, go out of your way to get that game onto the Switch, because that's a game that I believe that nostalgic fans, old school gamers are going to clamor for, and it's going to start a whole new thing. So, you know, if I was them, I would go for the gold. No pun intended on that one. So it'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see how many people come back and try to relive the 1997 game and see if it, in fact, actually has outdated itself. In a sense, because if you look at the graphics now, the 64 graphics from them and the way things now, just do me a favor, for millennials, I need the millennials to realize this. If you're listening, please, when you see this game, it is not a new game. It is absolutely not a new game. This is a classic game coming back out. What you need to do is sit back, enjoy the past and what brought you to what we got today. That's all I'm saying, because I remember reading about Onimusha. When Onimusha came out, there was a post on Capcom, and there were actual kids, and you could tell they were kids, because they were talking about how they thought this was a brand new game that was coming out from Capcom, and why does this look outdated, and why does this gameplay not look like this, and it was hilarious to see. And instead of looking to research about this game, or I don't know if some of it might be Capcom's fault, because they may not have mentioned that this is a classic game being remastered and coming back out. I don't know, but this, you got to understand, this is a classic game from around the same time, you know, Onimusha came out. I think Onimusha came out a little bit later due to, you know, if you really look at the graphic, intake of both, I think that it came out a little bit later. But my goodness, I tell you, please, just if you want to learn about gaming history, I definitely say go out of your way to check it out. It was a very popular game back then, just for your knowledge as a true gamer. Go out of your way to check that out. So there's another game on the Switch that I want to talk about right now that was been out for God knows how long. It was also on sale. I just happened to look at their sales feature on the eShop and saw this and picked it up. It's only 99 cents. who am I to, I'm not going to argue that. Super Blackjack Battle 2 Turbo, the Card Warriors. I got a chance to play this game. It's a blackjack game with a heavy influence in Street Fighter 2. So the makers of this game are heavy Street Fighter fans, obviously, and they managed to implement the characteristics of Street Fighter into this game of blackjack. And what you have is a really cool experience here from a group of guys. I'm not sure. It's usually just an indie game, so I'm assuming there's probably going to be like one to three people working on this game. And this game is blackjack, but it has all the elements of Street Fighter. You got 12 characters with different stories and endings. There are actually endings to this story, which is awesome, that you get to play. All these are some of the top blackjack players in the world, all coming together in a tournament to face the main bad guy, which I forgot the main bad guy's name, but he's supposed to be like the shady player or dealer or whatnot, and each person has an agenda against this character. Sounds familiar? Ergo, the Street Fighter characters trying to head over to Bison, pretty much. So, I never played blackjack in real life. Never played it. Never been a fan of gambling or going to casinos or anything. I always been a fan of playing poker, online poker, not online poker, but actual poker games or anything that didn't involve me losing real money. So, I still never really understood how to master that game. Blackjack, it's the first time I really actually had a chance to play blackjack. I didn't realize how easy it was. And to play, at least it's easy for what I'm playing here. I don't know. I can't tell you if some of the rule sets of real life blackjack are played here or where they added some other really stipulations or elements in here. But without even knowing how to play this game, if you really observe what this game does, you pick up really quickly on how to really play this game. And I really appreciated that. I don't know how they were able to do that, but without even teaching you how to play blackjack, you instantly understand what the rules is and what's going on and how to play. And then furthermore, you start to learn how to really play the game against an opponent and how they're thinking or what's the strategic way to go about it and what's the best way to go. Or how, should you keep hitting to hit 21? Should you hold back? Do you go through and take insurance or whatever like that? There's a whole bunch of ways to play, and you start to pick up on this easily. It's a really well done, designed game from a gameplay standpoint and just the visual standpoint and the presentation standpoint as well. They also had, you go off and face off not only against an opponent, but the blackjack dealer itself. So when you're playing the game, it's you against the opponent and see who makes the most money within 10 rounds. So it doesn't matter what the dealer does. You're not beating the dealer in a sense. You're more likely, well, you're trying to beat the dealer, but the dealer is the overall guy. The opponent is what you're facing. You have to make more money than the opponent by the end of the 10th round. Or the loser, whether it be you or the opponent, has to lose all of their money in order to be defeated. So if your opponent manages to lose all their cash, they lose. If you lose all your cash, you lose. So it works that way. And and you can lose before the 10 rounds end, because you can have a complete knockout if you decide to bet all of your money and go all in with it and just lose all your cash. So, and then if you get defeated or if you defeat your character, they do the same traditional Street Fighter screen where they show you in victory while your opponent is lost and almost defeated. Not like in a sense of getting their ass whooped and having an ass whoop look on their face like on Street Fighter, but they have a defeated look on their face. So the cool part is too that I love about this, that when you stop playing the game, it automatically saves. So even if you go out of the game and come back to it, you pick up where you left off with the actual story element. There are also other options to just play and practice, blackjack on your own in single player mode to get adjusted of how to play the game as well. So that's also awesome to do. But once you go into the story mode, if you play with that one character, you stick with that one character until you absolutely defeat the game. And once you defeat the game, there are actual endings to the game, much like you would when you beat Street Fighter. There's an ending to the game. It's so well done. I love this game. For 99 cents, you cannot beat it. Go out of your way. I give this game an absolute A+. Now, granted, with that said, upon giving it A+. If they do this game again, I would hope that they find a way to add a super gauge system that will allow you to maybe, I don't know how you would do it, and it's because the way that it's designed and structured, I don't know how they would do it, but it would be awesome to find an extra element to this game and go about it that way. But this is a very fun game. If you're a Street Fighter fan, I mean, really, of the culture of Street Fighter, you got to appreciate this game for what they've done and added that type of Street Fighter 2 element to it. But if you're a Street Fighter fan and maybe not a Blackjack fan, but you got to appreciate this. It's only 99 cents. You're not losing any money. You're gaining money. You're gaining a great experience here. And for only 99 cents, kudos to these guys. I hope they come back with a sequel to this or something else of this, because this was very well done. I truly commend these guys for that. I wish I would have discovered this sooner. So, last bit of news is that I got a chance to play Devil May Cry, the demo. It's coming out this Friday. I already pre-ordered it. I got the deluxe edition. I'm very tied within this game. This show, A.C.M.G, is very tied within this game for a reason, and we will tell you that in a minute. But before I do, I got a chance to play the demo. I'm sure a lot of you have. I am very much looking forward to this. There's been great reviews on the game experience itself. I love what I got to play, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming up next with this. You got to play as Nero in a really short version of the story, and you get a chance to feel what happens when he uses his arm, his now bionic arm, which you set to lose every once in a while and manage to pick back up. So it's a really cool thing, and being able to, I mean, it doesn't give you the full experience, of course, but it does give you a chance to fight a mini boss, which is actually not really a mini boss. It's like a huge giant, boss, much like they did with Devil May Cry 4. If you guys remember when they did the demo for that, it's kind of the same thing here. I love what they've done with the game. It looks like it's going to be one of the best versions ever. I knew when my guest was on the show the last time that they were coming out with this game, he couldn't say nor deny that it was coming out, much like he did with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. But I can tell you this, he's coming back. Ruben Langdon, the voice of Dante, will be back on the show, probably sooner than later. I've actually reached out to him. I called him. He's been traveling around the world, filming a documentary, I believe. So we're going to talk about that and much more as what's been going on, including that incident that I talked about last week with the shooting situation. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more on that next week. But I got a chance to reach out to him. He hit me back up. Said he's all for it. He's down with it. This will be his third time on the show to talk about Devil May Cry and much, much more. We've already we set this up a long time ago, but we said when the time is. He said actually when the time is right, we'll be jumping on, and he's never let me down. He's a great dude. Ruben Langdon's a great dude. You guys know him as Ken Masters on Street Fighter V. He's also Dante from Devil May Cry. He's also been seen on movies. He's also done stunt work as well. So if you guys get a chance, check out the previous interviews that we've had with him. But get ready, because he's coming back to Talk Time Live very sooner than later. We're working it out. It may be a week, it may be next week, or maybe a week from now, maybe 2 weeks from now. But you'll know soon enough. But Dante is coming back. The one and only Ruben Langdon is coming back. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this edition of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extra Select Start. I got even bigger news. Oh, let me not say bigger news. I have even more news. Even more news. He's not the only guest I'm having. If you guys watched or seen the promos that I had, the teaser promos that I had on Instagram at DaxxavierJosiah, if you go onto the ACMG Facebook group, if you're in the Keystone Comic Con page, if you're on, I've promoted this everywhere. He's not the only guest coming. We got a ninja coming from the Hidden Leaf Village coming that will be on the show tomorrow. In fact, Tom Gibbous, you guys know him as Shikamaru from Naruto Shippuden, Boruto Naruto Next Generation. He's coming on the show. We're going to talk to him about his entire 14-year run as the character, everything that he has done pretty much in his career, and some really cool stuff I might add as well. I want to talk to him about too, Philly related as well, that he was involved with a icon in here in Philly. So we're going to talk about that and much more. So Tom Gibbous, the voice of Shikamaru from Naruto, will be on the show. tomorrow. I believe we will connect tonight, and I'll have that up tomorrow. So looking forward to it, and keep it going. We're going to have more, and I'm actually... the Wakanda call is coming too. So we're still working on that as to when we're going to have that one as well. So stay tuned for that and much, much more. Folks, this Sunday on Talk Time Live Prime, we will be talking all things Captain Marvel. As Captain Marvel's coming out this week, and we're going to get a chance to talk about what we thought of the movie as well. A bunch of our members from the A.C.M.G. Facebook group are going to gather together with myself, my wife, and just a bunch of other people from the A.C.M.G. Facebook group heading to Movie Tavern in Flowertown, PA to see this. Now, if you've never been to Flowertown, if you're in the Philadelphia area or in the Pennsylvania area, you're near Flowertown or Collegeville, Movie Tavern is one of the best experiences you can have for movies at this time. I know there's going to be a new one downtown in our Philadelphia area in downtown Philly when they open up the new mall and such, and which would be great timing for all the cons and Keystone coming down and everything. So they are, they're looking to do something similar to that. But until then, Movie Tavern's our place. And it's a great experience, restaurant experience with the movies and everything. Great food, good time, recliner seats. You can't go wrong with this. So we're all going to be heading down there. But then Sunday, I'm going to be talking about that movie. Hopefully, I may have an actual guest on the show to review it with me. So stay tuned for that possibility as well. So, stay tuned for that, but we also going to talk about all the news that's going on this week, all the sad news, all the interesting news going on, this week. So we're going to definitely cover all that on Sunday as well. So for now, get ready, but we're going to have an explosive week here in Talk Time Live and A.C.M.G. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, this is Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. Take care, and I will talk to you Sunday. Even more news. This episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.